I was meant to win. I am down and willing, so I will find a way. It took a minute, now it didn't happen right away. When it get hot in the kitchen, you decide to stay. That's how it winners made. Stick a fork in the hater on my dinner plate. I walk into the fire like it's just a bit of flame. I switch my style up, push the money pile up. I'ma get rich or die trying.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Clydesdale Media Podcast. My name is Scott Schweitzer. I'm the Clydesdale, and we are highlighting the athletes of the 2024 Legends Masters CrossFit Games. And I have with me today none other than Brandon Fontenot. Brandon, what's going on?
Oh, not much. Just glad to be here.
So I have to say that of all the athletes I've researched, you have the smallest online footprint of anybody that I've looked into.
Oh, for sure. I was told I needed to start doing a little more of that this season, and the guy that does all the video, and that if you've looked through my Instagram or anything like that, there's a guy that's he's just taken over like videoing and trying to capture this moment for me, and he was supposed to give me a list of things that I was supposed to start posting on social media, but I'm old school. Not really into all that. So,
well, I usually I have a couple key things that I always look into to try to find like the history of people. And that's like LinkedIn accounts and bios on websites. And you own a gym, and I went to your bio, and all it does is have your 3 credentials.
Yeah. Well, I don't know anything. Maybe I need to get more savvy on that there. I don't know.
Or you can just stay private. And
yeah. Well, I mean, it isn't really that I like to reach out to people, but I just don't, I'm not really, into that yet. Other people said I need to get more involved in that. So,
yeah, it is what it is. I have to do it because of this job, and be on social media, but it's work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. See, I have I have 2 Facebook accounts. There's one Facebook account that's linked to my Instagram that I can't get into because it got hacked like 7-8 months ago, and I couldn't figure out how to get back into it. So we just created another Facebook account. So there's still stuff going in that Facebook account that's linked to my Instagram, but I can't access it. I can go in there. If someone comments, I can go in there and like it, but I can't do anything else with it.
So let's learn about you right here on this podcast. So what did you have any athletic background before CrossFit?
Yeah, in high school, I played baseball. I went to a small high school. It was like 361 students from preschool to the 12th grade. So there was just enough people to make a baseball team. They call it a Class C school, so it was very small. There was 21 kids in my graduating class. I used to tell people I was top 21 in my class. So I played catcher 4 years. Actually 6 years. I actually played high school baseball for 6 years because they let us start in middle school just to be able to make enough people for the team.
I thought you were going to say they held you back a couple.
No, no. So I played high school baseball for 6 years, and that's basically it. I didn't really start any fitness until when I was 35, I believe.
Okay, so I did see in your Instagram that you have a heck of a weight loss story.
Yeah.
Does that coincide with finding CrossFit, or did you find fitness before CrossFit?
I moved out when I was 16. I went to work, started life. I had to get going a little early in life, and so I started work, and just life coming in. I met my wife. We had kids. I was about 26 when we got married, and if I got that wrong, she'll correct me later. But so, and then we just kind of both just got happy, and next thing you know, we put on a few pounds. So I had never really, I farmed and had cows and stuff like that, so I never really did anything fitness wise, and so I just got tired of having to hold my breath to tie my boots. So one day I was like, and I didn't really know what I weighed. I didn't really pay any attention to none of that. And so one day I went and bought me a pair of shorts. I know it's strange, but I didn't have any shorts. And I went and I joined the gym, and I'd go before I went to work every morning because it was a 24-hour gym. I didn't want nobody to see me there. So I joined the gym, and I would go run a mile every morning on a treadmill. That was my thing. I made myself run a mile every morning. And it would walk. So sometimes it was 10, 15 minutes to get through a mile. But I did that. And the guy, he reached out to me and said, hey, there's a 5K in our hometown, in not far from where I live. Won't you sign up for it? So I'm like, yeah, sure. So I was probably the only person that trained 6 months for a 5K. And it started I started enjoying running. So I got into that, and at 35 or something. Yeah, I believe at 37. And I did another 5K, then decided to do a half marathon. So a guy reached out to me and said, hey, why don't you go, we're going to do a trail run in Sealy, Texas, in Stephen F. Austin State Park. So it was a half marathon. It was 4 3-mile loops at night with a headlamp. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. So when I did my first half marathon there in Texas, I said, well, I've already ran a half. I might as well do a full. So trained for a full marathon in Baton Rouge, the Louisiana Marathon. And I got into some running groups and got involved. I actually created a little community I was from. I created a running group, the Reeves Runners. And we would just meet up and run every evening. And and then the following year, I was going to do 2 marathons in 1 year. And I ran 1 marathon in Pensacola, went to do my next one. I did my last long distance run, and I did something to my knee. I had went and got some orthotics, some different, I went to a podiatrist in Houston and got some orthotics for my shoes. And like a fool, I went and ran a long distance in those new shoes, and it inflamed my knee, and I couldn't even run 3 miles without it flaring up. So I kind of got it was scary because I didn't want to get back to where I was. So running kept me from gaining weight, I felt like. And so it kind of almost on the side of depression there, because this sounds crazy. You were depressed because you can't run, but it was more that I didn't want to gain that weight back. And my wife said, hey, won't you try CrossFit? And I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna do that. I didn't really want to. I didn't have no idea about that. So I was like, well, all right, well, I'll try it. So I went to my first CrossFit gym, and one of my friends now was actually coaching that class. Well, I couldn't even climb a rope. That was pretty embarrassing. And so, it transpired from there. So I actually started CrossFit in 2018, 2019, something like that.
So your first open was 2018.
Yeah. So I actually started. The funny story is I started a week before Murph in 2017. So it was after the open. So I couldn't do the open. I did Murph full and couldn't extend my arms because I didn't know you could partition Murph. I mean, I didn't know you could do a half Murph. I partitioned it. But I was like, okay, they said, hey, we're doing Murph today. I'm like, okay, what is that? And they're like, you go run. I'm like, well, I can run. And it's push-ups, air squats, and pull-ups. I'm like, well, okay, let's do that. And well, I did the whole thing in, it wasn't in a blazing time, but I still did it. And I didn't know what was going on because for about a week, I couldn't, my arm stayed like this. And I thought I was like, I've been screwed myself up. So.
Yeah, tying your boots was way harder then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's funny. You had a week. My first ever workout was Murph.
Oh, wow.
I was 450 pounds.
Oh, snap.
Did Murph for my first workout.
Oh, wow.
Very, very, very scaled.
Oh, wow. Wow. That is awesome though.
And so 2 years after the fact, I was able to do it RX, no vest, but still do it RX. And like last mile, I'm bawling the whole time.
Yeah, for sure.
Of just how far I had went. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but that's what I did on my marathon. when I had about a half a mile left on my marathon, and I'd experienced that same thing. I had a life, like, on that last home stretch of that marathon, you had everybody on the side of you and you're running and you see the state capitol in Baton Rouge, and I just relived my whole life in that last half mile. My wife's like, well, what are you doing? Why are you upset? I'm like, I have no idea, but I'm just boo-hooing here. So.
Yeah, I was not upset. I was so thrilled at how far I'd come.
Yeah, but that was happy. Oh, for sure. That's exactly what that's what I'm getting at there too.
Yeah. Yeah. CrossFit's an amazing thing. So you the first day you couldn't climb a rope. You decide to do Murph a week in. Something hooked you in those first 5 days to make you do that.
And honestly, I don't know what it was like. It was like during the process, I'm like, I don't like this. I don't know why I'm doing this. But afterwards, I'm like, okay, I'm coming back tomorrow. And then I came back, and then I went to a 5 a.m. class, and every morning at 5 a.m. I was there. And then I wanted a little more. Then I started competing, and then it was I have to stay signed up for stuff. I always have to be registered. I always say that. I'm registered for, like the High Rocks coming up in November after the games. I'll probably end up trying to do Legends again. It just, I have like long-term goals and short-term goals. So.
Yeah, it makes sense. You have to have a goal on the horizon to shoot for.
Yes, that is correct. That was my goal, was to actually do an Ironman. That's still, because that's the only tattoo that I mean, nothing against tattoos. I have nothing against tattoos, but I don't see one that I would like except for an Ironman tattoo. And I don't know. It's still a possibility. So we'll see.
Yeah. I grew up as a swimmer, and I always wanted the Olympic rings, because when you make it to the Olympics, you get the Olympic rings tattooed.
Yes. I saw that. I've been watching that. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, one of the friends I talked to before this was Corey Leonard. And he's in the chat, and he said, man, I had no idea how similar our story is.
Oh, cool.
He also told me that he has competed against you several times, and you have whooped him every one of them.
I don't know. Corey's come a long ways. Corey's a good dude. Yeah, I like Corey.
He is. So is it safe to say, as a CrossFit athlete, you are an engine guy because you did all this running before you came in? Is that what you're best at, or have you evolved into something that you have other wheelhouses now?
Well, I don't know. I would think I'm pretty strong. I'm just I can just tough it out. That's my thing. Is like, okay, that pain will go away. Like, I can just kind of sit in, and it's gonna hurt, but this is just a temporary hurt. Nothing I'm doing is it's not permanent. It's I know the feeling of afterwards. It's that rush afterwards.
Yeah,
that I'm going for.
So at what point in the CrossFit journey did you realize, you know what, I might be good at this and might need to like really push? Because at some point you signed up for TFX, you signed up for MFC, you signed up for some of those bigger competitions. What was it that triggered that?
Well, 2 years ago, it was actually I was always, whenever, like during the Open, it was always, you questioned yourself when you would come in 100th in the world or 130th, and you're like, man, that's a big gap between there and making the top 30 or the top 40. Am I good enough for that? And so when you go to do TFX, I did TFX and I won TFX. But that year, 2 years ago, I had set a goal out. I told a friend of mine, said, hey, there's a couple of big comps I'd like to qualify for. And then I would love to try to qualify for the games my rookie year as a 45-year-old. I had heard somebody say the other day that they don't look forward to aging up. I don't. Age me up. Let's go. And so I set a goal out, so last year, actually right before the quarterfinals, a week, I did beach brawl and ended up doing something like tricep and a clean and jerk. And so I was out for quarterfinals last year, which was fine because that wasn't my goal to make the games that year. It was just to make Legends, Masters Fitness Collective, and then the games this year. And whenever I made Masters Fitness Collective, Roy, VJ, and Rudy, and a lot of them reached out to me and said, see, you do belong in this group. And whenever they said that, it was like, okay, these people are talking to me. Even Jason Grubb, me and my son went to the CrossFit Games to watch the previous 2 years. The first year we went, I actually have a picture where I saw Jason there, met him, and we talked back and forth. Actually, he helped me out a lot in my beginning of the journey. And just that he said, you need to put in your mind, you're a CrossFit Games athlete. You need to just, everything you do, say you're a CrossFit Games athlete. And when you start putting that as your title, I guess you could say, I don't know if that's right, but everything you start looking at is in a total different way. The way you eat, the way you train, the way you sleep, everything you start looking like, would a CrossFit Games athlete do this? And that's the way it just transpired.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now you are in the title.
Yeah, that sucked because I can remember I went to Mayhem for semifinals. So I'm driving home. I drove to Mayhem. It was about 9-hour drive. And I'm driving back. The weather's gotten bad. And they released the leaderboard unofficially. And my wife and a friend of mine, they text me or called. I don't know. They said, hey, you're 36. You made it. And I'm like, huh? I said, it's not out yet. And they're like, well, they said, well, aren't you excited? And I'm like, I don't want to get excited until this stuff's over with. Roy texted me. He said, hey, congratulations, you made it. I had to write on that for 2 weeks, not knowing that I'd made it or not, because I was on the cusp there. It was 36 spots and it was like 10 or 15 points. And I'm thinking, I start looking through my videos and say, hey, if they, are they dinging me? I got an email saying, hey, your video for workout 3 or whenever they is good. And so I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean? So then I would text Rudy and I text Jason and I would say, hey, I'm wanting some clarification from them saying, hey, you're okay. But there's like, hey, just be patient. We all are, this is the wait. So we wait 2 weeks. I believe it was about 2 weeks. And, everybody's like, well, Brandon, did you qualify? And I'm like, not until that point. Whenever I got that email saying, hey, the leaderboard's finalized, you're invited to the CrossFit Games. It was pretty sweet. I was actually at my gym when I got that. The lady videoed me getting that.
That is, that's incredible. A lot of my best friends in the sport are masters athletes. My co-host on Sunday night is, she waited the 2+ weeks. But one of my dear friends is Dex Hopkins, and he finished 41st.
Oh, I saw that because I met Dex at MFC and I was watching him and I'm like, man, that sucks. But then he got in.
He did. He moved up to 40th, like with 2 days to go.
Yeah. So it was good. It bittersweet, kind of good, but bad. So somebody else got knocked out for him to get back in. So it kind of, or hopefully they just withdrew or some, declined the invite or. Yeah, but that was before the invites went out. So
so someone got penalized, I guess. But
so I watched the leaderboard. Not that I didn't. I mean, I may have looked at it once or twice a day for 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah.
Refresh
every age group. I wanted to see if there was movement, where the movement was going on, so I could actually follow and see which age groups were getting video submissions. Who was getting reviewed there, because I would see it I would even screenshot it to see if numbers would change.
You sound like Lynette Berger, because I've been with her at reveal time, and she's just like refresh, every 10 seconds, just hoping. Rudy's warming up, Rudy's doing his thing, but Lynette takes all that on and just,
Yeah, but I tell you what, like we talked earlier, but when I went to MFC, I had met her, like I said, we met Rudy and Lynette, and I was there, and she actually took me in under her wing. I was competing against Rudy that year, And she was sitting there telling me, hey, this is Rudy's warm up. You can do this, this, and this. There was one workout. She came to me and said, hey, this is your workout. Go all, and we're in the fixing to go on the floor. And she says, don't hold back. I mean, and I'm like, that was pretty legit. So.
Yeah, she's a pretty awesome coach.
Yeah.
Someone who's only been doing it for 2 years, and
yeah,
it's awesome to see her development as well.
Oh, sure.
And Corey pipes in. I can't express how good of people Roy Viger and Rory VJ and Rudy Berger are.
Oh, for sure.
So you're a Mayhem athlete.
That's great.
Why did you choose Mayhem?
Because of their beliefs, their structure, everything in their faith, family, and fitness it falls in the same kind of beliefs that I have. And then so it's kind of to be, you surround yourself with like-minded people, and sometimes you question yourself if it's like when I'm with the semifinals, you don't know if you're welcome there or not, like, because you don't know if you can compete at that level. But when you get there and they treat you like your family, and I didn't really have much family when I grew up, so whenever so a lot of people take that for granted whenever whenever people treat them good, and with me it goes a long ways, and they've been behind me for this whole time. So
the question I have is, I've interviewed a lot of the Mayhem athletes. You guys all went to Cookeville for semis. Yes. So there you are, you, Ryan Retke, you're in the same age group, you're in the same division. What's the dynamic like? Is it still very supportive?
Oh, very much so. There was times where, because we would go toe to toe. There was one workout we were supposed to do together, me, him, and Corey. It was me, Ryan, and Corey, and Jay Webb were in the same age group. And it just give you more of a push. I mean, we were sharing stuff back and forth. Ryan is a brains whenever it comes to numbers and stuff like that, because I would ask him, hey, do you think I qualified? Do you think I made it? He said, man, it's going to be close. He knew it was going to be close whenever it was over with. I mean, the dude's, he already knew all that. But no, everybody, there was no, we would show up, throw down, and it was pretty, it was pretty legit.
So. Brett Owsley, Brandon is just a good dude. One of the hardest workers I've met.
Yeah, him and Jonathan Varela. I watched him do a workout, that last toe to bar workout, and that was my inspiration to go harder. They were actually in the younger, the 40 to 44. So they're good guys.
It sounded like it was like just a really cool atmosphere to be in.
No, it was. I was worried because my buddy of mine that co-owns the gym with me, him and his wife they were headed up there with me, and because I follow Mayhem Athlete, and but he takes, and if he sends me emails throughout the week, he's gonna be my coach when I go to the games. But between him and Jordan Webb, they both kind of transpire there. But when we got there, I was worried because you go up there for semifinals, you've prepared for this for 2 or 3 years to make the games, and the big excitement to go train at Cookeville or something like that. You don't want to be caught up just in the hype of competing at Mayhem, because it wasn't to go visit Mayhem. It was you're training to go to the games. I mean, you're fixing to do this workout. So I was so worried because my training, when I train, I train at the oddest hours. I'm at the gym at 3 a.m. and then when I get off in the evening. So I'm thinking, well, I have that same ability to do that there, or whatever I want to do. And whatever we wanted, we got it. You had all the elites helping load bars, helping judge, rooting you on. We were in the back room where all the athletes, where you see all the other games athletes competing, and we had full range to everything. I'm sitting in there. It was pretty cool because I'm getting in a cold plunge, and there's Rich Froning getting dry needled on a table, and they made fun of me, but it was just yeah, surreal. So it was an experience. This whole year's been a great experience.
That's so cool that you've got to experience that. I wanted to ask, who are you taking with you to the games?
This is probably the emotional part for me, because the words will never express how much I appreciate the people that are in our gym and stuff. We have like almost 50 people coming to the games.
That is awesome.
My wife, my daughter, her boyfriend, and I've tried to count it before. It's right at 50 people that are coming to support me. And that's what I tell people, that whenever Mayhem sold these jerseys for us to kind of help go to the games. It's kind of, you hate to ask, hey, will you buy a shirt to help support me going to the games, when they're going to the games as well, and they're on their own dime, So it's kind of you almost feel selfish in a way.
So what's it going to be like when you're on the floor and you look out at the crowd and you see 50 people in your jersey?
That's and there's more. There's these jerseys. There's Let's Go Brandon with my face. I don't know. I get every once in a while, whenever it hits me, I get the chills. I maybe get a little teary eyed a little bit, but it's gonna be pretty amazing.
You own a gym. Is that your full-time gig?
No, I actually work for the railroad. I'm an electronics technician for the railroad. It sounds super smart, but sometimes I kind of make it sound better than what it is. Well, I program crossings and stuff like that. But so I co-own a gym with another guy, Ben Vines. He's super sharp when it comes to programming and working with a lot of people, and I'm just the face and the energy behind the place. So one year we were in CrossFit 3 or 4 years, and he's like, "Hey, how about we open our own place?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So we opened up our own place. We were looking just enough people to pay the bill. And it just grew and grew and grew. We actually opened COVID year, heck of a year to open. And now we're in a bigger facility that's 3 times the size, and we're probably running about 150 members now. But so we have 6 coaches that help out. So that's ever since the training for this started, they've kind of just said, "Hey, you set back from coaching and stuff, and you just don't worry about it. We got this." And it's been kind of nice to have that. So.
It'll be nice someday if I get to be the eye candy of a gym.
No, I don't know about the candy. It's the goofiness.
So. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So what are your realistic expectations this year?
See, a guy asked me that. He's going to get mad at me if he's watching this YouTube. So I've got to say this. That I'm not training. I haven't been training for the last 2 years just to go to show up. So don't get me wrong. I've already won by making the CrossFit Games. But when I qualified and you have 50 something people coming from your gym, you have all that support behind you. So there's no telling what you'll be able to accomplish. So
the other thing too is you have a lot of race experience. You've done TFX. You've done MFC, you've done Legends, right? You've been on the floor against other people. A lot of people are good at online competitions. Doesn't mean that translates over to head-to-head competition.
Well, and that's where I'm pretty good with the heavy stuff and the skill stuff, and that's what I like. And then I'm not a good home run hitter where I'm going to knock something out of the park. But if you give me 8 or 9 workouts, and I'll start slowly coming on down that leaderboard. So we'll see. But,
well, Brandon, this has been a blast getting to know you. We're going to be there in Birmingham. We're going to be behind the scenes recording a documentary, just chatting with you guys as you're warming up and in the corrals and cooling down and recovering and all that, so that you guys have a cool documentary to look back on after all this is done.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And thanks for the support you're giving to this community. So
yeah, man, this has been a blast. I think you're like my 13th interview this week.
Yeah. I've watched them. So I've tried to, I was like, okay, I'm going to practice up, but there's no practice for this. You just got to jump straight in. So
Yeah, you have,
thank you for
another
making it. Thank you for making it. Thank you for making it where it hasn't. I was nervous up to this point, but it's kind of like talking to another buddy of mine. So
Yeah, we just try to be conversational. Nothing.
yeah, for sure. For sure.
No hard news here. David Johnson says, "See you soon, Brandon."
All right, man.
Well, thank you for doing this. Thank you to everybody in the chat for making this a great interview today. Support the channel, like, subscribe, hit that notifier, so we can keep doing these things and supporting the Masters community. With that, thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Clydesdale Media Podcast. Bye, guys.